Welcome to Connections in Cowlitz County. I am Katie Keaton.
And I'm LaDonna Stacy.
And today we are connecting with Morgan Rawson, who is the love of my life. But besides that, she is also a fellow realtor and the president of the Children's Discovery Museum in Downtown Longview. We are so excited for the conversation we had with her.
Absolutely. I love the museum. I've seen a couple presentations from their director about things that go on in there. I know that they have a connection with OMSI. I'm super excited to bring up a lot of this and get some of the meat out of that.
So make sure you stay tuned for an awesome interview.
Yes.
Today we are connecting with my beloved, one of my favorite people in the world, Morgan Rawson. Not only is she a realtor with me at Realty One Group Pacifica, but she is the president of the Children's Discovery Museum here in downtown Longview. Hello.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Yes, it's very exciting to have you on.
I'm super jazzed to be here.
And Morgan, she is the woman who supports other women. She watched our last podcast in its entirety. Wow. And she said, thank you for the shout out, because if any of you are returning viewers, you know that Ariel Larget, who was in last week, said that her favorite little hidden gem in Cowlitz County is the Children's Discovery Museum.
Yes.
So we are excited to hear more.
And that is not even fake. Like, I've seen her in the museum. Like, I have an eyewitness account. Like, she goes to the museum. So,
yes.
Thank
and her
you,
children.
Ariel. And her children.
And they're adorable.
Yes.
They are.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And honestly, that was not even planned. We didn't tell Ariel, hey, we're having Morgan on next week. You need to give a shout out. It was organic.
100% organic.
It was organic. So, Morgan, tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, she is, or at least was, the youngest realtor in Cowlitz County for a little bit.
I am still.
How old are you?
I'm 21.
She's 21.
Oh my goodness.
21 in 5 months.
She's so young, she's still counting months. She's 21 and a half, people.
21 and a half.
Yes.
So I have been a realtor for 2 years.
Wow.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
I'm coming up
Time
on my
flies.
anniversary. And grew up in Cowlitz County, grew up in Longview. We moved here when I was like 2. We lived in Portland because that's where I've got family.
Yeah. Same. I moved from Portland also, but when I was 9.
Yeah, but like this is all you've ever known, pretty much.
Mostly. Yeah. I mean, I moved away for 10 years.
Oh, okay, never mind.
I'm also old enough. I'm not telling people how old I am.
She's not counting months anymore.
I am not counting months.
Yeah. But so you are basically from Cowlitz County.
Yes.
You were a child in Cowlitz
I
County.
was a child in Cowlitz County. I went to St. Helens Elementary. I went to Mitten Valley Elementary. Went to Monticello Middle School. Graduated from Ari Long in 2020. Go Jags. Good stuff. I've loved growing up in Cowlitz County. I really like it's small enough that you've got lots of connections. You go to the grocery store and you're going to see somebody you know.
Yes, every single time.
Yeah, which sometimes I don't
Usually
look.
when you're not dressed to see people.
Yeah, usually when I look like hell. Or I'm in like a crazy hurry.
Yes.
Because I've got 900 other things to do. Also, if you know me, you know that like I am an Instacart person. Like, I hate going into the grocery store. The faster I can get in and out, the faster I can get home, the faster I can start cooking dinner. Like, that's how I live my life.
Yeah.
Like, I order it, I go, I pick it up, I leave. If I go into the grocery store, I run into like 12 people I know and I'm there for
probably
forever.
in a bad mood.
And I'm probably just like, I need to get out of here.
Yeah. So, yes, love living in Cowlitz County. And obviously, you know, you graduated and you basically took a running start into being a member of the community, fully functioning, and the president of a nonprofit.
Yeah.
So, okay, obviously, or maybe not obviously, you graduated during the pandemic.
I graduated 2020, so yeah, it was
Oh my
like the
goodness.
height. So like senior year, like did not happen. It was kind of a bummer, but you know, it's all right. We get past it.
We get past it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, it wasn't the normal trajectory of here we go, I'm graduating from high school, I had a normal senior year experience, and the world is my oyster. You know, you graduated and started doing things during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And so how did you get involved with the local community, you know?
So our previous executive director, the one who actually founded the museum, she and her daughter and I had been friends since like 6th grade.
Okay.
So forever. And she just called me up one day and she was like, you know what, I think you'd be really good on the board. It's really easy. You know, you just come get involved. I think it'd be a really good way for you to get into the community and just kind of see what's going on. And so I was like, okay, sure. Yeah. You know, she's like, yeah, we've got some people who are trying to leave the board. So we need some new blood.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I went to a meeting and in that meeting, almost our entire executive board was leaving.
Oh my
so
goodness.
it was
I
a
dealt
really
with
big
that
shift.
in a board that I was
I've
a
been
part
of that
last
in a
year.
board
Yeah.
a few times. It's terrible.
It's scary.
It's
It is.
terrible,
It really
but
shifts the trajectory of the board and also whatever it is that you're running.
yeah, it can be a good thing too, though, because you do get in
Absolutely.
new blood, and it's a make or break moment. So you're like, okay, are we going to let this ship sink, or are we going to band together and join forces and make it even better than it was?
Exactly.
Okay, so were you already a realtor at that point?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know as a realtor, you know, we don't have super rigid times during our day. It's not like we are clocking in and out. But if you don't have clients, you do find yourself with extra time to volunteer. And also it is important in this industry to kind of build your brand, to build your sphere, to get involved and to make a difference and to help yourself be known in the community. So is that part of your reasoning for joining as well?
Yeah, it was a good way for me to network and like just
Yeah.
meet new people, new families, and see who else I could help.
Yeah.
But really I did it just because like I got to see the museum in its like beginning years.
Yeah.
When I was still in high school and in middle school.
Oh, okay.
And so like I got to kind of see it and then I got to see what it like became. And it was really interesting to get to then be in it. And I was like, yeah, I volunteered here when I was younger. And now, like,
you did.
yeah, just
fun.
a little bit.
Okay.
Not a whole lot.
Okay.
But like I would go in every once in a while and yeah, so I was like, yeah, I mean, I've been around it, but like
Yeah.
I don't have kids.
Yeah.
I don't have like an early childhood education background. Like, you know, I sell
Right.
houses. I don't.
But you do
yeah.
have the experience of growing up in Cowlitz County. And, you know, one thing we talk about on this podcast is we want to get rid of people having the idea that there's nothing to do here, that there's
Right,
nothing for your
exactly.
kids to do, that there aren't any fun activities to be had, because that is not true. And
Yeah.
there are really great programs out there for kids. And I mean, the Children's Discovery Museum, correct me if I'm wrong, but it is free for people to enjoy.
We are completely free. We are a nonprofit, free organization, and our whole focus is connecting kids to their parents. We want to foster growth and connection and education and learning, and it's been really beautiful, the kinds of connections that we get to see happen in our museum.
So would you say for the most part, when kids are coming in, are the parents interactive, or are they just kind of sitting there chilling, or do they have fun in the museum too?
So it's really interesting when you get to see the shift, because especially like the first time that a parent will come into the museum, you know, we greet them at the door and we say, you know, we do ask that you stay off your phone. You know, we want to build connection. We want you to be able to interact with your kid and really learn together, because this is a time for your kid to teach you, and this is a time for you to teach your kid. So let's build and grow together.
It's so important with kids and parents.
Yeah.
And the funnest thing, I think, as a mom, my favorite thing is when you can see the wheels turning.
Yes.
Because there's something about a child where, you know, when you grow up as you're an adult, you do kind of develop your poker face. You know,
Yeah,
no one
absolutely.
really knows what's going on in your mind.
Yeah.
But when you're watching a kid experience something for the first time and the pieces fit together in their mind, you can see it. Like, you can genuinely,
absolutely.
you can look at a child's face and realize they're learning something, which is very fun to see.
We get to see so much of that. So we do these big quarterly exhibits or rotating exhibits. So one of our most recent ones was a music exhibit. And it was really cool because we've got drum kits and we've got cymbals and maracas and all this stuff to go in, make noise, be loud, have a good time. And, you know, a kid would come and they'd bang on the drums. And then their parent would come over and bang on the drums. and they were doing it together, and they're making this music, and they're having a good time, and they both just light up.
Oh.
And it was just so
love that.
lovely and heartwarming.
And loud?
And loud. we considered offering, like, foam earplugs.
Yes, please.
It didn't ever get too bad, so we never got to that point. And
Okay.
it's tucked away for now. We've changed it out. But, yeah, it was definitely one of those times where you got to see, like, the parent breaking out of their shell and realizing like they could come in here and just have a good time.
So the museum isn't stagnant. It isn't something that's exactly the same every time you come in. It does have rotating exhibits.
Correct.
So who decides what exhibit and how do you guys put that together?
So we have an executive director.
Okay.
And he is phenomenal. He's great at the artistic, like the creativity. He was the one who came up with the music exhibit.
Okay.
And he is a musician, you know, he loves to
Okay.
he loves
that tracks.
Yeah. He loves to make music, and so he was like, we need to bring music in. We need to just like let these kids let loose and just do something crazy, because how often do they have an opportunity to play around with the drum kit?
Right. Their parents are probably saying, please
Heck no.
don't
Please
do that in my
don't
home.
bring a drum kit into my house.
Exactly. So he came up with this idea. We found stuff on Facebook Marketplace. We found stuff on Amazon. We had stuff that was tucked away in our storage room that we didn't even know we had.
Okay.
And we're bringing it out and we're putting this exhibit together. And on the day that our board came in to help set everything up, we've got these like... We've got some, like, older ladies on our board. They're banging on the bongos. And they're like, oh, my gosh, this is so fun! And it was really just cool to see, like, the impact that it was going to have on the community just within our little circle.
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned that when you joined the board, it was kind of a turnover of the entire board. Did you come on immediately as president, or did you work your way up?
So I came on as secretary.
Okay.
That's a nice introductory
It was a very nice introductory position. It made sure that I was coming to board meetings and paying attention.
Yes, absolutely.
And then I learned pretty quickly like what kind of things you have to do to make a board run.
Yeah.
And I got that leadership position, and so it was a really good way for me to then, when our president at the time resigned early, I was able to step in and say,
And the president that you were under at first was Lindsay Cope, correct?
Yes, Lindsay Cope was the president who...
And she runs Longview, basically, you guys.
She's phenomenal.
We're going to have her on the podcast at some point, for sure, but she's a great person to learn how to run a board from.
Yes. So she was the president that was leaving as I was coming on.
Okay.
So I was in one meeting with her.
Okay.
But
my goodness.
Yeah, she's still super supportive, and like if I called her right now and was like, listen, it is going down, she would solve it. Like,
that's just how Lindsay is, though.
Yeah.
Like, that's just Lindsay as a person.
She's a go-getter.
Yeah,
She's a great connection to have.
And I've seen her in town. Like, I saw her, it was probably like at Harvest Fest or something, and she was like, how's the museum? Yeah. And I was like, girl, you remember? Like, she's like, what's going on? And so, she's the best.
You mentioned the people on your board, and really this is really, truly a volunteer position, correct?
100%. So the only person that is paid in our museum that we as a museum pay is our executive director. Okay. And it is not a crazy salary. You know, I don't know the exact numbers, but it's not a ton of money.
Yeah.
You really have to, if you want to do that job, it's because you really love the community and because you love kids.
Yeah. So it is a nonprofit. It is free for people to come in and enjoy the museum. Are there donations, or how are you guys
funding
anything?
Yeah, how are you guys funded, basically?
Yeah.
So donations. So we do have a donation box at our front door. We have online donations now. So you can go online, make a credit card donation, which is super nice. You can set that to a recurring donation. So every month you can donate $10, $20, whatever. We do events like Give Big and Giving Tuesday.
Yes.
Those are super big for us. And then grants.
Okay.
So
do you have a grant writer?
That's one of our executive director's job, and that's actually something that we're currently working on getting the board more involved with. Okay. So making sure that we're all as a team coming together and writing these grants. To make sure that we're making some money, because it, with COVID, everything had to shut down, but we were still paying rent for 2 years.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we lost a lot of our money because we didn't have people donating.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was tricky.
Yeah. Speaking of rent, I know you guys have moved a couple of times, but you are currently...
We are currently in downtown Longview. So we are on Commerce. We're down by Cafe Gousset and Halo Salon and Evermore Salon. And it's awesome. We love it.
Yeah,
we really
centrally
love it.
located.
Super.
Yes, that's important.
And I mean, we had a family come through one of the days that I was there volunteering, and they were like, "Where should we stop for? Where should we stop for lunch?"
Okay.
And I was like, "Okay, we've got Mill City Grill. You can go to Siam Spice. You know, some Thai food. And so I was kind of able to talk to him about the landscape of downtown.
Yeah,
and they were from out of town. They were driving through on their way to visit family and needed a place to stop for a couple hours to get some wiggles out.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And we were there.
So important.
Yeah,
so
it was
important.
awesome. And yeah, we love being downtown.
Yeah.
We moved here in 2019, 2020, so right before COVID.
Do you get a lot of people saying, "Oh, I didn't know you were here"?
100%.
Yeah.
So many people. Part of the problem is because on Apple Maps, they have our location still listed as our old location in the mall.
Oh no.
We've tried to dispute it. They don't want to work with us.
If any of you know how to fix that, let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my question is, roughly how many kids do you think you get through the museum in a month?
We just had our board meeting. I'm trying to think. We see hundreds of people a month.
Okay.
Like
good. So you guys are pretty busy.
700 people a month probably.
You're pretty busy.
Oh,
and when are you guys open?
Right now we are open 4 days a week. We're open, and I don't have our exact hours, but it's online. We're open Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Okay.
For several hours each day. We've got evening options. We've got afternoon, morning options. So got a little something for everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, the executive director, he's the only paid position, but when people are working at the location at the museum, they're also volunteers, correct?
Some of them. So some of our partnerships that we've recently gotten, we've got people from like CAP and the YES program. So we have workers that they come in and they're paid, but we don't have
just
to pay
not by
them.
you.
But you're not.
So
paid.
it's been such a big blessing because we don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, it costs so much for us to have another body in here, but we really can't have one person doing it.
Right.
Yeah, that's
So
tough.
it's been so wonderful.
Yeah.
And we just love those organizations.
Yeah.
And it's great for the folks that are able to come in and do that work for us.
Well,
because
and I'm
it's
sure it
teaching them.
helps them too because those programs do serve a lot of children, do serve a lot of families.
Yeah.
And so that partnership together, I'm sure, is great because it's like, hey, not only can we help someone get a few hours that we're paying for, but also it's spreading the word to these families that there's something free that you can go do and bond with your kids that you don't have to spend money on.
Right. And
because
the more
what's
people
free
know
these days
about it, the more people are going to go and be there and do all the things.
Our current longest standing employee, she brings her daughter in like every weekend. And because she works during the week, but she brings her daughter in on the weekends.
Okay.
And it's so great because we get to, she understands how things work, but she really gets to be there and spend that time with her daughter.
Yeah.
That's nice. So what are your current volunteer needs?
So right now, since we do have that full staff, we are pretty good with like our just coming in and volunteering at the museum. If you want to come in, we are so happy to have you because the more the merrier.
Yeah.
But at this point, what we're looking for is like donations.
Yeah.
Just keeping the museum running.
Yeah.
If you want to sponsor the museum, if you want to help us pay for our rent 1 month.
Yeah.
If you're a company out there and you're looking to do something good and get a tax write-off.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
Yeah, so it's not just someone coming in and playing for a few hours and putting some money in the donation box. You do have sponsorship abilities for a company that might want to sponsor, maybe like a day of play.
Yeah.
Or,
nice.
children's activity month. I think there's something like that.
Right.
Yeah, we've got lots of options like that. We've got a holiday event coming up that we're going to be looking for sponsors for so that we can have an afternoon and evening where parents can come in with their kids and do just like a holiday event. Yeah. And maybe walk out with a goodie bag.
Yeah.
Okay.
So stuff like that we're always looking for.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, it sounds pretty grassroots when you're like, okay, this is the exhibit we're going to have. Let's go look in our own closets. Let's go look on Facebook Marketplace. Let's go look those places. So do you guys take donations for maybe like things that would fit into your exhibits?
Yeah. So if you've got something at home that you think might be really good for like a children's activity.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, we've had people donate like preschool chairs.
Oh, okay.
And so those are things that we can use. And if we can't, then we find a preschool that can use them.
Yeah.
We've got, if we can't deal with it, we can distribute it to people who do, because we have other community connections that can use stuff like that.
Very good.
So you are currently the president. You were also the president last year.
Yes.
Are you going to be the president next year?
I think so. I think I've got like a 3-year term.
Okay.
So I think I'll do one more year.
Okay.
Maybe just, be a board member, let somebody else come in, take over. And
Yeah, absolutely.
So if someone did want to join the board and take on more of an active role, like they feel really passionate about the Children's Discovery Museum and boosting it, getting the word out, being really involved, how would they go about that?
So come into the museum. We ask that before you join the board, you do, I believe it's 8 hours of volunteer time in our museum.
Okay.
So you can
makes
really
sense.
see the impact that we have on the community.
Yeah.
You can see what we're about, and you can see if it's a good fit for you.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
want to make sure that the people that we have on our board are passionate about
Yeah.
the museum, about the mission, because we are, and we love it. And then as a board member, we do ask that you volunteer 2 hours a month.
Okay.
Oh,
So
that makes sense.
whether that's in the museum, excuse me, whether
She's
that's
getting choked up.
I'm getting choked up. I just love it so much.
So volunteer could be in the museum.
Yeah, in the museum, maybe helping to write a grant.
Oh, okay.
Maybe making community connections. Maybe going to a pop-up event where we're gonna have a booth. Doing all those sorts of things so that just doing something to be present for the museum.
Yeah.
So what are some upcoming events or things that somebody could have at your museum?
So we currently do. What's it called?
Science Sunday?
We do Science Sundays, so we do that once a month, and that is a special event where we focus specifically on one thing. So one time we did elephant toothpaste. Do you know what that is?
Yes.
It's like a big
Yeah.
explosive. It's super fun.
I have kids. I've seen Mark Rober videos.
Yes. Oh, love Mark Rober. I don't even have kids, and I like him.
Honestly, he's kind of cute too.
The best. Yeah, so we did elephant toothpaste. We did back in May, we did the science of Mount St. Helens and the science of volcanoes. So tied it into that anniversary. We did one about the science of recycling.
Okay.
So we had waste control came in.
Right,
And they had a bunch of like pop bottles and just like recycled materials, and kids made something out of them.
Okay.
So whether that was a rocket or, they learned things can be repurposed.
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
As they say.
Yes, we've all learned that in school.
Yes.
And I know this last one was the science of camping.
Yeah. So that is actually our big exhibit right now, is the science of camping.
Okay.
And that one is in, what's the word? In connection.
All right.
Connection with the Boy Scouts of America.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So, so we had them come in. We've got a nice big tent in there so you can
fun.
see what it's like to have a tent. We had a Pinewood Derby race.
Yes, I heard about that.
Super fun. And just things
Did you make any fires inside of the building?
We did not make fires inside of the building.
That's probably good.
Probably our landlord would not
landlord,
like that.
No, also your sprinkler system.
Also, I don't know that we have sprinkler system.
I'm sure they do.
It's an old building.
I'm sure they
It's
do.
an old building. Lots of downtown Longview.
If someone, obviously things are changing, exhibits are changing, there's different stuff going on at all times. How can someone who wants to keep an eye on that for their kids do so?
Get on our Facebook page. We've got Facebook and Instagram, and they're being posted on quite consistently with the cool things that we have coming up, what's going on.
And that's Children's Discovery Museum.
Cowlitz Children's Museum on Instagram, and then Children's Discovery Museum on Facebook.
Okay, and we'll tag them in this video.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
we'll tag them in this video.
CowlitzCDM.com. That's our website.
Cowlitz CDM, Children's Discovery Museum.
Yes.
Very good.
.com.
Okay, so I was privileged enough to watch a presentation from your director at my Rotary Club
Yes.
a couple of months ago, I think. And he talked about you guys borrowing things from OMSI, which we all know and love.
Yes.
And how does that work? How do you guys borrow things from a different museum?
So our partnership with OMSI is super cool. They actually just came down to the museum and checked it out, and they said that they loved it.
Oh,
so
that's
we were
great.
super happy
That
to
is
hear
great.
that. They've been with us since the beginning.
Okay.
We, were able to reach out to them because, rather than just having fun things to do, we want to make sure that it's educational.
Right.
So we got to make sure that it's fitting into that STEAM model, that science, technology, engineering, art, and math.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that we've got a purpose for our exhibit. So they were able to help us say, well, you could put a farmer's market in here. And that's going to help teach kids about where their food comes from.
Oh, yeah. He did talk about farmer's market.
Yeah. And so some of our, fruit, when you look at the bottom, it says, OMSI on it. So it's, stuff that they've donated to us to let us use and to help us get us going.
Yeah.
They've been such a great resource for us. And we love
I love OMSI.
being able to work with them.
Go as often as I can.
Yeah.
Well, obviously they share the vision and so I'm sure, like you said, I'm sure
It's
they
a
love you
natural
guys.
partnership.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's very interesting too. I didn't know that. So, you don't want to drive down to OMSI.
Get a little taste of OMSI.
You can get a little taste of it here
yeah.
without gas prices.
Yeah.
Gas prices. And again, it is free to enjoy the Children's Discovery Museum.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you guys.
So,
it was nice to have you on.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed, you guys. LaDonna experienced it today because anytime Morgan walks into the real estate office and I am also in the real estate office, I squeal in delight. Do I not?
You do.
I do.
Yes.
So we like also on this podcast to ask our guests, what's your favorite hidden gem in Cowlitz County?
Ooh, that's a good
I put you her
question.
on the spot.
I was not. I knew it was coming, but I wasn't ready for it.
We're just gonna sit here.
We're gonna
sit here and watch.
Katie,
her.
do you have a favorite hidden gem in Cowlitz County?
My goodness. So I would say that I love Offbeat Antiques and Oddities, which is one of the reasons we had them on first because I love that store and I think it's so great. Unfortunately, one of my favorites, which was Hopscotch Toys, closed down recently. I was close with the owners and I thought they were just the best store in the world. They are moving, so they're moving up to Seattle, so that was closed. That was one of my very favorites. And my hidden gem that I just don't think people utilize enough is the Kelso Theater Pub. I love the Kelso Theater Pub.
Yes.
First of all, the movie tickets there are so affordable. It's $8 on any given day, and it's $5 on Tuesdays.
Yes.
Which you cannot beat.
No, you can't. That is my favorite hidden gem.
Yes. Oh, is that? Did I steal yours?
Same.
I love the Kelso Theater Pub,
together.
and I love Mike Julian, who is the owner, and we should probably have him on at some point.
Absolutely.
He does a lot of stuff too, which is a reoccurring theme in this podcast. Is people we have on, they got lots of balls in the air. They're wearing lots of hats, but I'm obsessed with the Kelso Theater Pub, and they're showing the movie The Creator right now. So if any of you want to see it, it looks really good. So yeah, that would be my hidden gem.
Same.
Did I buy you enough time?
Yeah. Okay. I think I just love downtown as a whole.
Oh my, that's what Ariel said too.
It's so wonderful.
Yeah.
It really is, and I think it's evolved so much over the last few years because when I was growing up, I got to do a program called CAST, which was Children's After School Theater.
Okay.
And I went down to Stageworks. So it was 5 days a week I was down there, and we were we put on shows, and so I got to perform a lot, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
But downtown today is so different from then downtown.
Right.
It's so much more lively, and it's thriving, and there's so much going on. And I just love being able to work downtown and experience it. And yeah, I just think not enough
around
people
on a
realize,
Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Downtown Longview is honestly the only local shopping I do aside from farmers market. Sure. Everything else, because of my schedule and my kids' schedule, which is would make everybody just
kids
spin. Wednesdays particular are very difficult for us because everybody goes a different direction at the same time. But downtown Longview, this is the only place I shop locally. I get my groceries at Fred Meyer's, but I just, I order a lot of stuff online because it just fits better. But when I come into downtown, I find connections. Yeah. I find my favorite shop, and even if I show up by myself into a shop, that woman will tell me, that's not your color. Yeah. Or, I know that I can step out of a dressing room and she'll go, well, you're behind. Really doesn't go there. It's just not great. Or whatever. Or
you look lovely and wonderful and beautiful.
Or they're absolutely your hype person. Yeah. That's the best thing I've ever seen. Yeah. There's different products that show up in downtown Longview that I wouldn't ever be exposed to if I hadn't walked into the store, because it wouldn't be something that, Niche hosts a lot of neat products.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Niche is great as well.
Yes. That I just wouldn't be exposed to online, because that's not what my algorithms are feeding me.
Those algorithms, they're a blessing and a curse.
Yes.
You should shop local. Yes. But yes, I agree. And thank you again so much for coming on. Yes. It was a pleasure to have you.
Absolutely.
And again, if any of you want to get involved in the Children's Discovery Museum, you want to learn more about it, you want to volunteer, you want to do any of the above, head on in to the downtown location. It's on Commerce. It could not be easier. And you can find out more about them on social media. You can find their hours and all that great stuff there. But remember, they're in downtown. They are not at the mall still. So do not get tripped up by Apple Maps. Yes. And I'm sure we'll keep the conversation going. But for you guys, it is over right now.
Katie, that was such a great conversation with Morgan Rawson. I'm so glad that you kind of pointed us in that direction to bring her onto the show and really talk about all of the things that she does in the community and how she got started in it. What's interesting to me about that is that she started so young.
Oh my, she's so young.
She's a baby.
So, like we talked about in the podcast, she is 21. She's one of my nearest and dearest friends.
Yes.
And we jokingly call her on my other podcast. We ask her for advice all the time about social media and things like that.
Oh, okay,
She is our Gen Z correspondent.
Absolutely. I didn't even think about that. Us as millennials, we need those people.
So she is our Gen Z connection, and she is keeping us current. Yes. Plus, she is doing so much for the community. Like I said, not only is she a realtor, but she is the president of a nonprofit already. So I'm excited to see what she does in life.
Yes,
Love her so much. And she has gorgeous hair.
The best.
Just the best hair.
I always want to say something like, oh my God, your hair just looks amazing. And
she's
like,
gorgeous hair.
I just woke up.
I know. It's unfair, honestly.
My hair never looks like that when I wake up.
No, me either. So now we are on to the second part of the podcast where we tell you about some of the fun events that are going on in the community over the next couple weeks.
Yes. Okay, so one of my super excited about upcoming events is the Focus on Democracy candidate debates. Okay. Obviously, that would be something that I'm excited about. I am in politics. I'm sadly kind of pulling out of that a bit, but hosting these and being part of this has been a lot of fun and obviously a lot of work with everything that you put on. But the first one is going to be on October 4th, which will probably be after this actually posts. Mm-hmm. But the second one will be on October 11th at 7 p.m. at the Rose Center at LCC. So at that one, we're going to see candidates like Mike Wallen and Calais LaFave, the Kelso candidates, all of them. So everybody has been given questions, and we're going to do a live poll from the audience to pull in some extra questions. So it should be a really great interview. And we're also going to be streaming that.
Okay. So I don't think we've ever done a great job of really introducing the things that we do in the community. But like you mentioned, you have been in politics. So what position have you been holding?
So I am on Kelso City Council as council member number 7.
Council member number 7. Lucky number 7.
My position I hold.
Yeah. So you are not narrating, moderating. You're moderating this event?
I'm actually kind of doing some of the background work on this.
Who is moderating?
So I'll be there supporting it. Josh Carter from Carter Venture Solutions will be moderating.
So you're helping the back end side of everything.
Yes.
Okay. And yeah, sounds like it'll be a good chance for people to come and listen to the candidates. You said it was on October 11th?
Yes.
So that is a Wednesday.
That is a Wednesday.
Okay.
It should be about 2 hours, maybe a little bit longer. We're trying to keep them kind of short at the Rose Center at LCC.
Okay. And it's
free.
open to the public.
Yes, it's open to the public. Okay. Anyone can come in. No signs are going to be allowed. Okay. So, you're not allowed to campaign for your person there. And
no heckling.
No heckling.
No heckling, you guys. I am so firmly against heckling. I can't even.
Yeah. First of all, that's just damaging to people's minds. Let's not do that to anyone ever.
Yeah.
But
so let's keep it about the facts and about the candidates.
It's a focus on democracy.
I love that. Focus on democracy. Okay, so that's the 11th.
Yes, so that's the 11th. And then on the 12th, the Kelso Master Gardeners are hosting a class at the Kelso Library about composting.
Okay.
And there you can kind of come and learn all of the things that go into composting, desired temperatures, things like that, what you should and shouldn't put into it. And they're also doing a seed giveaway from their seed bank. So that's kind of exciting. And I know right now a lot of our gardens are getting taken down. I don't have a garden of my own, but my family does.
I also do not have a garden of my own.
But
you dabble.
I have houseplants.
Okay.
And I have roses. I have houseplants and I have roses outside. And those are the things I care for. And that's pretty much the end of my bandwidth.
Yeah. So growing up, my dad composted, and really all that meant was he had a specific spot in the yard that he dumped everything.
Same.
And that's kind of how I approach
it
too. Like the other day, I found some carrots that were a little bit past their use, and I was like, I better go compost these. And by that, I mean dump them in one specific spot of my yard. Yeah. But there is a lot more to it.
There is a lot more to it. There is a whole entire science to it. And I think that is kind of the meat that they're getting into at this class that they're going to be hosting. So it'll be at Kelso Library, October 12th at 5:30 to 6:30. So it'll be pretty short and sweet.
Yeah, great. And you can learn all about composting. So I am talking about the next event, and it is a hard right turn.
Yes,
or
absolutely.
left turn. So you may not know, but LaDawn and I are both part of the Lower Columbia Professionals.
Board members.
When we talked with Morgan and we're like, we know all about the board completely switching over the year you take over.
Yes, same.
We know all about it.
Yes.
So I'm currently the co-chair this year. And if you don't know that much about the Lower Columbia Professionals, we are the fundraising arm of the Chamber of Commerce. So we fundraise for local scholarship funds. And we usually give away right around $20,000 a year. Yeah. And the way we raise our funds is by having events. And we call ourselves the Fun Committee because we try to do fun things.
Yes,
this one is on Friday the 13th. And for the first time ever, we are hosting Scarioke.
Yes. Are you excited about this?
Oh my, yes. Can you tell?
Do you have a song picked out?
Honestly, I have my go-to repertoire, but it's hard because you have to feel the vibe of the event.
Okay, so I'm not a karaoke person. There is a whole entire karaoke setup in my house because my daughter loves it.
I love karaoke.
Great big speaker, little switchboard doodad.
We should have a
huge
party at your house, a karaoke party at your house.
Huge microphone things. She just gets on there and she loves it. It's in the downstairs and I reside in the upstairs.
I ask my husband for a karaoke machine every year for Christmas and I have never received one because I don't think he would be happy with it because I think me and my two kids would have a little bit too much fun. But yes, I have some things in mind that I'm going to sing, but
I have nothing.
This is Scarioke, people.
Yes.
So it is a fundraiser. There is going to be food when you come in with your ticket price. It's $15 in advance, $20 at the door. But there's also going to be some other fun things going on. Like you can pay to make somebody else sing.
Oh,
and then
what?
that
I missed
person
that part. Maybe I'm not going.
can buy out. So
I'll be buying out.
yeah, so you can buy out of that. We're also going to have a karaoke wheel of songs. So if you want to go up and you really feel like challenging yourselves and, scaring yourself, you can choose to spin the wheel and sing one of the songs that come up. Otherwise, you can pay $1 and pick your own song. So it is going to be a lot of fun. I'm super excited about it. And again, that is on Friday the 13th. It's Friday the 13th themed, so you can dress up if you would like to.
There's a costume contest.
Yes, and
this is what I'm participating in. Costume contest.
See, I'm the opposite. I'm like, I'm gonna wear my normal clothes.
Oh my goodness, are you really?
Judged. Oh, I'm not a costume person.
Oh, Katie.
I'm not a costume person. We'll see, but no, probably not. But I will sing.
Okay.
So we'll be complimenting each other. She's got the costume, I've got the songs. Not that I'm good. I'm not saying I'm good, but I will be singing. And it is at the station in Kelso.
Yes.
So that was just taken over. So the station, I believe, is pretty new.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and they're excited to host us. And actually, they were so lovely to basically be the sponsors of this event. They're providing the food for free. We're not paying to rent the location from them.
Oh, nice.
So they want people to come in and check out what they have done with the location. Again, it's the station in Kelso.
Yes.
And Friday the 13th from 6 until 9. So
should be a lot of fun.
it's going to be a lot of fun, you guys. If you want to buy your tickets in advance and get that $5 discount, you can go ahead and call the Kelso Longview Chamber of Commerce. I also run the Facebook page for the Lower Columbia Professionals. And if you go on there, there is a link in the event page to purchase your tickets online.
Yes.
And I asked Wayne if he was coming, and he said no. So you can judge him for that. Okay, what is next?
Okay, so Harvest Fest is next.
Yes.
It's going to be on October 14th from 10 to 7 p.m.
Okay.
And it's here in downtown Longview. They're shutting down some streets for it. So there's going to be Patriot Motorsports is putting on a truck show. And I believe that runs pretty much the entire day. Beer garden opens at noon for all of you really early drinkers.
Yeah.
Let's see. Then they're going to have the Reptile Roadshow at the Children's Museum.
Oh, yes. Yes, we talked about that with Morgan briefly before.
Yeah, but then
perfect
we
tie-in.
Yeah, perfect tie-in.
Perfect tie-in.
So Reptile Roadshow is actually like a Kelso-owned business, and they drive around in this van, this like white van that has all these reptiles on it, and my kids desperately want me to bring them to our house one of these days.
For like a birthday party?
Yeah, for like a birthday party.
I
or
like
something.
the
My kids are like, let's just throw a party and have this thing at our house. I'm like, no.
I'd be down for it.
No, you host it.
Okay. She's going to host the karaoke party. I'll host the reptiles. I already have a bearded dragon at my house, so what's a few more? Scaly creatures.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I always forget about your bearded dragon, and then you like randomly bring it up in conversation. I'm like, this is
I love him though, but I'm afraid of him, so.
Okay.
It's fine. It's not a big deal. So, okay, the Harvest Fest also. Let's go ahead and go back to the first episode of the podcast because Ariel was talking about how they had so many people come through. And I think the official count was like 1,400, but I've been talking to other people about the event and they think it was closer to 5,000. Like there were a lot of people downtown and it was a huge opportunity to show off what we have going on down here.
Yeah.
And for people to explore the different small businesses. A lot of them are doing deals.
Yeah, they're doing specials during it, and there's 30 plus vendors coming down for it. So there's going to be people all over the street. There's hay bales, and I believe that there's a hay ride. Boomtown Saints is being brought in by Cookin' Country, and they start at 1 p.m.
Okay.
And I believe they run about a 90-minute show.
Okay. So it's a great opportunity to get downtown, to check things out, to see vendors who aren't normally down here, but also to pop into a business that maybe you have never explored before.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is October 14th from 10 to 7.
So you can go to karaoke the night before.
Yes.
And then you can go to Harvest Fest the day after. And correct me if I'm wrong, but there's something on the 12th too. You can go watch the debates first. I guess. It's a full weekend. You're going to watch the debates.
Gardens
okay, so you're going to watch the debates on the 11th. You're going to figure out everything about composting on the 12th.
Yes.
You're going to take a hard left and go to karaoke on the 13th. And then you're going to end off with Harvest Fest. I mean, What could be better?
Yeah. So a night out for the adults and a day of fun with the kids.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much. It was so lovely connecting with you.
Yes, absolutely.
And it was so lovely connecting with you. And we are so happy to have you here on Connections in Cowlitz with us.
Yeah,
We will
thanks,
be
Katie.
back in a couple weeks to tell you more about everything that's going on in our local community.